the pop culture field and you will.
That was always like the worst. Like growing up, man, like the guys that I hated the most, whether it was in high school or hanging out with like my brother's friends, because my friends never did this. Yeah, it was burping in your face or I when I was a little kid, man,
Disrespect.
I was like 6 years old. There was this Brad the Brat. We hated him. And he was this punk. He was like a teenager, and he was like a cholo dude. And he held me down, and he farted in my face when I was a kid. Yep.
I'm glad you remember
Scarred
that.
me
Over
for life.
40 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, literally.
I hope
childhood
he's
trauma.
dead in a ditch somewhere. Yeah. Oh, your brothers did that? Wait, what is this world coming to?
Farted.
Was there a lot of farting in faces in Ranger Regiment? I'm guessing that would be like
just a lot of pocket pussies in face
okay.
that you don't know where they've been, or
you went
dildos
like
that
you
don't know
you
where
just
they've
went
been.
past that, man.
Yeah,
That's like
no,
juvenile stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just
That's
like,
JV.
Yeah, one time one of the dudes put another man's wiener in his mouth to make him feel uncomfortable.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Describe the infantry without telling me you're enlisted is, I know I'm not gay, but I've done way worse than gay people.
Dude, I told you about Sassball, right?
Sassball.
Us throwing out in the Echo final, the FTX, for the Echo course. Like we just get so bored, we just start going slowly insane.
Oh, with the
and
duct tape.
With the duct tape ball, and then you just find more and more creative ways, and then those creative ways just get more and more gay. Passing a tape ball, and then we started like dancing around to other guys' camps. Like they're like, "What are you doing?" And like we're all like, "Sassball, yeah." And we would go sass, and we like tossed it back and forth. Yeah. You would have loved it, man. There were some good dance moves there.
That's good, solid, good banter.
I hope their YouTube explode. This is the one that goes viral. I want to talk about Sassball.
Sassball.
All the dudes. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I mean, like Nate Boyer. I don't know if we were in the same. Yeah, he must have been. Yeah, it must have been Echo. He wasn't in, but he was out there somewhere.
He's somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere.
Anytime you guys want.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast. Sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and pop culture. Is that all? Did I get them all?
Yeah.
We just launched right into it, man.
Just
we
go
gotta,
for it.
We gotta wake up.
Wake up! It's
okay.
a tough morning.
I'm Israel Wright. With me, as always, the wonderful, the stupendous, the very mustachioed.
Thank you. Cameron Fath, good to be here, as always. I am a mustache man now.
Yeah.
My mustache is giving me the strength to make it through these tough times.
It's like Samson.
It is
the
like
longer it grows, the more power you
I
have.
get. Yeah. It's honestly, surprisingly, it's the only facial hair that my girlfriend is like, yeah, that's cool.
Really?
Facial. Yeah, because when I grow my beard, first of all, my fucking mustache and my beard don't touch yet. So
there's that no man's land in between? Okay.
But it's so close. But I'm not ready to be, that means I'm not ready to be a father.
Is that the symbol?
Yeah, once it touches, which it's so close, I'm ready to have kids.
All right.
And then when I grow my full beard out, it doesn't go in my cheeks, but I look straight up like a Gurkha. Like I look.
Oh yeah,
I look Middle
You
Eastern.
could be from any country that touches the Mediterranean Ocean and then further east, like anywhere.
much.
You have
Yeah,
a very
blend in.
ethnically ambiguous look.
Yeah, so I can blend in very well. And then I have a neck beard too, since it doesn't go in my cheeks.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
just don't look good with like a full beard.
I guess it's starting to go down there. It's getting down there a little bit. I got to trim it, but I get so scared now. I tried to trim the mustache part of my beard the other day, and it went like. It like went, I was so close to shaving it all off. I was so frustrated.
Oh man.
Then I tried to even it out, and then it's grown out a little bit, so you can't see it. But
yeah, no, you just gotta take the clippers and go like line it up, dude.
I know, but what I did is I combed it down.
Yeah, you combed
and then, but then it didn't line up right. I buzzed it, and then when I let it all go, it like went whoop. Like I had shaved all the stuff like out in an angle for all our YouTube friends.
Well, glad you're not ugly anymore.
Speaking of mustaches, this episode is all about anime. Actually, no, wait. Let me lead it in differently. Like when you have kids, Cameron, you can show them all the inappropriate anime.
Absolutely.
Which is what this episode is about.
Dude, anime is great.
Anime is amazing. Go ahead. I felt like you were about to get ready to go off there.
I know. Yeah, I'm a big.
Me too.
My upbringing was like strictly anime. Like my mom thought I was gonna move to Japan to marry a Japanese woman. Like that's how involved I was. Like I would hang out at those now they're the weird stores that sell like all the plush toys of all the anime characters and all the miniatures and
they have
whatnot.
That section in the back
that
you're not allowed
to
go into.
Yeah, now you look at it like that's weird. And that's where I used to hang out growing up. And I had like a collection of graphic novels that I would legit read through. And that's all I do. So I have anime sits at my core.
Anime is at my core too, man. I remember back when you couldn't find anime. You couldn't really find manga anywhere. That came in like the 90s, I think. I started watching it like real super young. Like I remember like Robotech. One of them we're going to talk about, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. It was called Warriors of the Wind back then because it was like an English dub version. But like anime was very hard to find. When I was in Colorado, I joined the Rocky Mountain Fanimation Club, and they would get fan subs sent over to us, and every month we would get together and watch another episode of something, that was just like an ongoing thing.
You're way worse than I was.
Oh man, yeah, it was.
I just went
like
to Barnes and Noble. I just went to Barnes and Noble and literally bought a graphic novel in their section.
And even
that's like one shelf. It was
Barnes
like one
and Noble,
shelf.
what?
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What's a Barnes and Noble now? It's books.
What's a bookstore? Yeah,
What's a book? You mean audio book?
That's cool, man. I let's see. I'm trying to think of like other like historical things when it comes to anime. Anime is like what I loved about anime growing up is, obviously like when we think cartoons, generally speaking, it's probably not so much nowadays, but because we've become such a globalized community. But like when I was a kid, cartoons were for kids.
Yes.
Right? Real simple with like My Little Pony, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all that kind of stuff. I'm glad I got led with My Little Pony.
Yeah,
but
right.
But the Japanese, man, they've been doing like you could find an anime for anything. You can find a manga or an anime for
animes
just
for
about
perverts.
any subject. Well, yeah, and including all the kind of naughty tentacle, kind of all the hentai stuff.
Badass,
dude. It's vast. It's a vast library. I'm ashamed to say that when I visited Japan,
a lot of hentai.
There's multi-story stores of just hentai.
That's awesome.
Yeah, literally thousands of titles. The most twisted things that you could come up with. Japanese have come up with, man. Pretty repressed society over there.
Dude.
I'll give you it's at 3rd Street. It's in Osaka.
Yeah, 3rd Street, Osaka. Yeah, right next to the ramen store.
Right next to the castle and the ramen store.
Yeah.
It's lousy with castles.
Well, dude, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this episode just because I get to talk about some of the ones I grew up about. But you got a couple here on this list that I'm seeing that I'm just like, what is that?
I know. I started out kind of obscure. As I was getting ready for this episode, I was trying to look back. Or try to think back and try to thread the needle, with the kind of action, military weapons and stuff like that. And yeah, I tried to jump into a few new ones. I made the mistake of like, I'll just casually get into like Gate, or I'll just casually get into like Attack on Titan. Some of the newer ones, that people have mentioned like on stream or just in comments and stuff. And it's like that's like a fool's errand, man. Like there's so many episodes for each one.
Hole.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole, and it's like, man,
you can't get a feel for it unless you spend like 2 weeks just binge watching it.
Yeah, because one of the great things about these animes, as with any series that can have a lot of seasons, but they do a really good job in anime of it. Is like it develops the characters, like who they are in season 1 is not who they are in like season 10. And you can't just jump into, like you were saying earlier, you can't just jump into season 4.
No, because you miss so much character progression, and there's always reoccurring themes I found out in anime where like they will literally go back to like Naruto, for example, where there's 60,000 seasons nowadays, and you're in season like 12, episode 14, and they reference something from like the first season. And you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, it like builds on it.
Yeah, you literally have to start from the beginning with anime, which I appreciate.
Do you want to talk about Naruto?
Sure, I'll jump into it.
Let's jump in.
It's a mainstream. Like if you heard of Naruto, you know. Congratulations, you have a pulse.
Yeah, people who don't know what anime is have heard the name Naruto.
Yeah, just because that specifically. So growing up, it was Naruto and Full Metal Alchemist and Bleach were my like lethal triad there.
Oh wow.
But like as far as my collection of graphic novels, I had at least 33 Naruto books, and that was like all the way from the episode 1, season 1, to where Naruto and like pretty much where Naruto and Sasuke like fight. So right before Shippuden, I think, before they made that switch, because there's a lot going on in the regular Naruto universe. But yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah, right before when they're trying to grab Sasuke because he's, like, running around with Orochimaru, and he's just like, bad.
Now, when it comes to the manga versus the anime, would you say that one has an advantage or a disadvantage over there? What are the advantages and disadvantages of reading the manga and then watching the anime? Because you've done both, right?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The one thing, I'm more of I'm stupid. So I like things like real down and dirty. And I feel like just watching it is so much easier than reading it. Because, I mean, you have to leave the mind. Because now I'm, like, thinking about reading them. And the mind, has to be paying attention. Because you're literally, it's like comic books. Like, do I go from, like, top left to right? Or do I go from, like, right to top left?
Because they're opposite.
There's just, like, a bang. And there's, like, something that says, pow. And you're like, what just happened? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to watch it, and you can do the dubbed versions, which is like the English, or you can watch it with subtitles in Japanese. Which do you prefer?
Which you prefer? Are you a purist like me?
Sometimes
only watch the subtitles with the original.
Sometimes, but if I get sidetracked, Japanese. I miss what's happening. But I can always tell because, like, when they're like,
yeah,
yeah, it's like, I mean, if you watch enough, if you're a purist, like you're saying, I feel like you start to understand without knowing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you could not pay attention and kind of figure out what the is going on. Oh, yeah. Even though you don't speak Japanese, just by listening to it so much. That's what happened to me with Squid Game. Like, I was just like, I would just not watch it.
Would you have it on, like, the background or something like
that? Yeah, just background.
Oh.
And then I went on a Korean movie binge. I watched, like, Train to Busan,
nice.
Parasite,
and
nice. And then Squid Game, like, in a matter of a week. And I basically knew Korean. Like, I could speak Korean, but I could understand it, but I could not speak it.
Yeah, that's
just
how
from being exposed.
Oh man, same with Japanese, man. I credit my. Like, I remember more Japanese than I do Korean, and Korean was my language in language school in the Army. But I've been watching anime with the Japanese with the subtitles since I was like a kid, you know? And so you start to pick up certain words and phrases and stuff, and you kind of get the context and stuff like that. No, I totally get what you're saying, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's like my sister when she was growing up. Like, my dad spoke German and my mom spoke Spanish. Oof. And they would try to teach me, and I was just like, forget it!
Did you learn anything?
No. My sister could speak fluent German and Spanish at like age 7, but then she went to public school.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But
California.
Doing that, I thought that was hilarious just because she can still say, she's like, yeah, I understand, like, when our grandparents are speaking German because they're still in Germany for us. So she's like, yeah, I can understand it. But yeah, man, Naruto was a goodie, and it ran for so long, and I still, like, to this day, when I'm scrolling through, like, Facebook and the Facebook videos come up, I'll have, like, part of the algorithm is they'll show me Naruto videos, and I will always stop and watch them because they're just so good. Because I don't know, there's, like, values to be taught, and there's, like, never give up, I'm gonna be Hokage one day, yeah. And then actually I was, like, addicted to ramen at one point just because I'd never had it, and I would always watch Naruto. And, like, it was funny, I was in Vegas a little bit ago, and I went to one of those. I went to Area 15.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and checked it out.
Oh.
And then I went to that little Rocket Fizz store that they have a bunch here, which I'm surprised they expanded all the way to Vegas.
The candy store.
Yeah,
they had little
Rocket Fizz. Naruto ramen, like instant ramen cups in there, and I was like, "We've come so far." I was like, "Where was this?"
For pasting that off.
And I was literally sleeping with a plush pillow. Like, I was super nerd, dude.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Naruto, and it's done now, right? Like, you
no,
watch the whole series.
It's not.
They started it
so,
up
like,
again?
they did, like, Naruto, which was like him as a kid, and then Naruto Shippuden, which is like he evolved into awesome, and Shippuden ends when he legit becomes Hokage, and then he, like, marries, like, he marries what is it, Hinata? Yeah, he marries her. She's, like, blind and weird, but
don't marry those blind
yeah. But then
chicks.
the next there is Baruto, which is Naruto's son.
Ah.
And yeah, I actually
real
have,
original naming convention.
Yeah, no,
there.
super original. It's just the B. And
Next
I
one's
watched
gonna
like
be
clips from
Naruto
it.
and then
Yeah.
Taruto.
But it's interesting because it follows the same exact format that Naruto did, like in the original when he's going through like his the Jonin tests where he has to like there's like ninjas have like ranks of like how experienced they are.
Okay.
And or he's like a Genin or something. I don't fucking.
When did they learn how to run like this with both
That's
arms?
immediate,
Alright,
right
okay,
off the
alright.
bat.
That's the first. That's like Ninja 101.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ninja 101 is always have your hands behind your back. But yeah, it's like following the same thing because his son's going through it now, and he's just like watching. It's super cool. I haven't watched it, but because I'm grown. But yeah, Naruto's great, man.
All right, let's switch gears totally because I just watched it again last night. Unfortunately, it was the English version, but JIN-ROH, The Wolf Brigade.
JIN-ROH.
And it's basically like fictional history. It takes place in the 1950s. And I guess, because it was the English version, I'm not sure if I missed something, but then I went and read the wiki, and it's like, it's alternate history. It's like, what if the U.S. had never gotten involved? And like, I think Germany occupied, like Japan joined the Allies, and then Germany occupied them for like 10 years, and then they went away. So it's like they're building up. It's like post-war buildup of the economy. There's lots of like upheaval and stuff like that. And so what they did is they started this special unit where it's like heavily armored, like SWAT team, SWAT response kind of thing. They got these huge. You can watch the armor is very iconic at the red glowing eyes. They got like almost like the German style helmet, and they all carry I think it's MG42 machine guns.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, you've seen it around. But it's funny because I was trying to reach into my memory to think of like animes that I remember. I remember it being a lot more action packed. It's a total political thriller.
Is it?
Like it's drama. It's people
this
sitting
is
in
a
rooms
film,
talking.
correct?
This is a film, and I didn't realize that there's more than one of these. I thought JIN-ROH was. I thought it was a standalone, but it's actually the third film. I forget the name, Kasurba or something like that. But it's the name of the unit, or it's the name of the guys. But there's three of them. This one actually chronologically takes place, like the events take place before the events of the other ones, but it was the last one made. And so I should go and check it out. But it's all this like political intrigue with like these police groups that are all trying to vie against each other. And then there's this secret like shadow group called the Wolf Brigade, which is like a counterintelligence. It's almost like an internal affairs kind of thing or whatever. Or it maybe not that, but it has its own agenda against these other two police groups. There's like the National Police and then the Capitol Police, and the Capitol Police have the special unit, which is the big machine gun dudes, but they're like way too violent, and so there's like political backlash against them, and they're trying to squash them. So it's all like this real convoluted, but at the heart of it is kind of the story kind of, it's like they use like the Red Riding Hood story as like a framework for like the heart of the story, the emotional heart of the story. Because
I've definitely seen this before. I'm surprised actually.
You have seen it?
No,
it came out in like
I
99.
don't think, let me take that back. I haven't. I've seen like pictures of this
Sure,
armor. It's
okay.
it's very iconic.
It
It's
is.
very like you recognize it. When you see it, you're like, that's some big anime thing.
Yep.
I've never actually seen the film because it's funny when I think anime, I'm so like tunnel visioned into TV series because most anime that I've been exposed to is a TV series, not a film. But then I'm like, now I'm sitting here and thinking about like Spirited Away, and all those goodies, and oldie but goodies.
I think this was it's the Kerberos saga. There's 3 films, and it's by Mamoru Oshii. For those that don't know, he's the guy that did the animated Ghost in the Shell movie, which was like super awesome, and I think one of the best. He wrote and directed. I think he wrote and directed either all 3 of these or just this one, but I noticed his name. I'm like, oh, he's super cool, super trustworthy guy. But I guess JIN-ROH is a good one to mention because it's like I was talking about before. There's an anime for anything. Like there's dramas. There's like housewife dramas. There's high adventure fantasy, stuff. There's sci-fi. There's the hentai. There's the kids stuff. There's like super adult stuff, but not like dirty stuff, but like stuff like this. JIN-ROH. It's like a political thriller.
Yeah.
It's like it's clear and present danger or something like that, just in anime form. And I dig it. I thought of this because I saw it in college. And this was still when you had to get like bootlegs. We would go to conventions and there would like bootleg VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And that's when I first saw it. And it was like this gem back before anime was just lousy and all over the place. But yeah, I like it. Yeah. Go see JIN-ROH.
That's awesome.
I got another one right off the bat, man. If you're looking at something.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I'm
one,
actually looking at this list and I see that you have Castle in the Sky on here.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, is that what I think it is? So I'm like,
oh, that's let's talk about that, man.
Yeah,
because
dude.
Miyazaki, we could have an entire show about Hayao Miyazaki and then Studio Ghibli.
Dude, you want to talk about Hayao Miyazaki? The movie I'm trying to think about is literally Howl's Moving Castle. Have you seen that?
Oh
one?
yes, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the last kind of good ones from Studio Ghibli because he retired and I think his son took over, and I noticed a definite shift in quality after he left. But yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is an awesome one.
I have such a distinct memory from this movie. It's because it's the whole reason I cook with a skillet pan now.
Really?
When she first enters the castle,
She's like,
and he's making her eggs and bacon in a skillet, and they did such a good job with making it look like the most appealing eggs and bacon ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, ever since there, I bought a skillet, and like I only cook eggs and bacon in the same pan because of literally how.
That's so great, man.
Yeah.
That's life imitating art.
I know, it's awesome.
Dude, Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki, or Miyazaki Hayao, however you want to say his name, say it right.
Senpai?
Yeah. If you're an American, you say Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah.
But if you're Japanese, you say
Miyazaki how?
But, let's skip around and not pay attention to anything. Nausicaa, okay, so Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. I've talked about this before, but it's the first Miyazaki movie I saw. And it was called, like I said, it was called Warriors of the Wind. And it was an English dub version, and pretty good. They cut some footage out. They cut actually about 15 minutes out of the movie, and they had to change the story a little bit. But it was one of those ones where like it changed my life. Like it influenced so heavily the things that I'm into and like the fantasy, the things. Yeah, it actually made me want to become a Green Beret. And I remember it was Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, but she was Princess Zandra. In the and if you look at if any of you look up Warriors of the Wind anime, the cover looks so ridiculous. There's characters on there that aren't even in the movie, and it just looks like so very American style, like and you look on the back and there's pictures there's shots from the movie, they don't look anything like the front cover. It's so funny. Go look it up. But I saw that. It was my sister, my brother, and me, and my sister was once again forced to babysit my brother and I, which she hated doing. But she would just let us watch anything. She'd let us watch anything, like really inappropriate stuff, because she just didn't care, because she didn't want to be there.
I thought there was no boobs growing up.
Well, there was a lot of boobs growing up, man.
Oh wait, no.
My sister and I watched. It wasn't like it was like one of those like Showtime movies, but like we watched it together, and there was like boobs all over that place.
The boobs thing was his parents' rule.
Oh, that was
the parents' rule.
That's what I'm saying.
Not my sister's
not your
rule.
Sister. Your sister
my
gave
sister
no
didn't
fucks.
care about rules when it came to
rules.
babysitting me.
Get out of my room,
she was a bad
Dad.
influence. No, I fell asleep in her bed one night and peed in her bed, and I feel really bad about it. But I was also 4. But anyway, back to the anime. It's one of those seminal moments in my childhood. Like I will never forget like the story and how it made me feel. It's like post-apocalyptic kind of. It's like 1,000 years after like these like giant like fire demons have just laid waste to society, and then they died, and humanity has kind of built up. But there are these forests, these poison forests that have these spores that like if they get out and they like go to like they'll take over whole villages, and they'll just start growing. They call it the toxic jungle. And Princess Nausicaa, they live in this valley that it's very windy. They get like wind drafts from the sea, so it always blows stuff away. So they're like totally safe from like any kind of toxic stuff, and it's very peaceful. But then this other kingdom comes in. Well, there's like a giant like air freighter, and it's air stuff, air tankers and air battles and stuff. It's so good. She's got this cloud climber, this little like reverse like
glider. Is that
yeah,
she's like standing on top of it?
Yeah, she's standing on top of it, and she's laying. Oh, it's so cool. But they get invaded because a freighter crash lands in their valley, and it has this like an embryo of one of these fire demons. And so this other kingdom comes, and
they want that.
They
demon.
want it, yeah, and they take over, and it's talk about strong female characters. We talked about I'm trying to think of an anime from Studio Ghibli that doesn't have a strong female character in it. Like,
No, they're all female leads.
yeah, Lupin the Third, I think, is one, or Porco Rosso. But even then, there's strong female. You want to know what a strong female character is like, or how to write one? Watch these movies because they're so well done. You know,
They are. And they're still so much fun to watch, regardless of their cartoon.
Oh yeah, Nausicaa the Valley of the Wind. That's one of those ones, kind of like Aliens. Yes, I got it in there. I could watch that I could rewatch that over and over and over again. I've seen that movie dozens of times. Probably the only one I've seen more is Aliens.
You know, one thing that kind of bothers me nowadays is like, you know how everybody's remaking things?
Yeah.
Like remaking, and everyone wants like live action anime series into movies until they make a live action anime into a movie series,
And it's like,
and it's trash. Like they did
like
that with
Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball. That was a terrible one. It's like some of those movies are just, you know, there's so much improbability that could happen in real life that you should just stop trying
Yeah.
to make it, like with the superpowers and stuff.
Yeah.
But they turned recently, like my Bleach. Bleach was
Wait.
like one of my favorite
Oh,
animes.
Bleach,
Yeah,
okay.
Bleach. And that was literally one of my favorite animes growing up. And I've watched all the series in English and dubbed. Like,
It's like over
there's
300 episodes.
Yeah, there's like 366 episodes. And I've seen them all in Japanese and
my
in English. And like they made that into a movie, and it was so terrible. It was,
live action
Yeah,
movie?
they made it into a live action.
Was it a
movie.
Japanese production or an American production?
I want to say it was because it was through Netflix.
Okay.
So it was an American production with Japanese
no.
people.
Why,
in it,
Netflix? What are you
I think.
doing?
And it was just so bad. I was like, God damn it! Why did you do this?
Wow,
to it?"
2018.
Yeah, it came out
recently.
Yeah, it's pretty new, but it's just like, dude, the whole point of Bleach is that it is so improbable that you just should stop trying. Because I mean,
Right. It's really hard to do like that really high end, like superheroes and superpowers and stuff like that. When it comes to maybe it's anime, because now I'm thinking of like all the Marvel stuff, and like they did that fairly well, but
Yeah.
anime is just on a whole other level, you know.
Yeah,
like the ridiculous nature of their uber powers. It makes it it's a hard sell, man. It's a hard thing to translate into live action. I don't know if I wonder if I'm looking at pictures right now, if there's like budgetary concerns and stuff.
I don't know, man. But I love the storyline of it because it's just
What
like
is?
this,
Tell me, because
okay, so it's the average dude. So it's an average dude, right? And he basically is just hanging out, and he has been able to see dead people. Like,
Oh, okay.
He's
A
like
little bit of
sixth
sixth
sense.
sense?
He's got like a
Okay.
sixth sense. So one day there's these like dead spirit samurais called Soul Reapers, and they're pretty much their job is to regulate these demons that come to Earth to feed on the living, and they're called Hollows, which are they're bad guys.
So
right?
these spirit samurais are kind of like protectors.
Yeah, so they're protectors, and they like pretty much manage the balance between living and dead, and they're called Soul Reapers, and they're basically samurais. They're like, yeah, they're samurais pretty much, but they each have their own powers based off their swords, and like it's the coolest thing ever. And there's this one Rukia, and she basically is like hunting this hollow and comes across Ichigo in the normal world, and he can see her, and she's like, "You can see me?" And then she gets all fucked up. So to kill the hollow, she like gives Ichigo, which is the main character, she gives him her sword and like makes him a Soul Reaper, and he like ends up getting this giant sword from her sword, which because it recreates and it's based off everyone's spirit energy. So they're all like, this dude, something's wrong with this guy because he has like the biggest sword in the fucking world.
Oh, like
And,
so maybe he has a lot of spirit.
yeah,
energy?
exactly.
Okay,
So
all right,
he's like
cool.
some undiscovered stud. So anyways, he becomes like he becomes like a part-time Soul Reaper, and this is all like season 1. But the character then they come, and since Rukia has been like, she's part of the order of Soul Reapers, and her brother is like a higher up in there. And there's like rank structure of soldiers, and there's like these lieutenants that are in charge of all these different units within the Soul Reapers, and all the lieutenants are extremely powerful. And so like season 1 pretty much ends with like Rukia, which is the one that made Ichigo a Soul Reaper. and they like take her back to execute her because she's like, you've been gone from like the spirit world for a long time, like you betrayed it and you gave away your powers, so you're gonna be executed. And her brother is the one telling her that like she's gonna be executed. And so but Ichigo's like, no, you can't fucking take her. And then he goes and like grabs all his friends because there's like this band of friends, and and somehow like all the friends end up getting powers somehow. Through like experiences of fighting hollows and shit, because they all like end up having spirit energy and they all have different powers. And like it's super cool, dude, because he'll like go and Ichigo obviously is just, he's a sledgehammer because he doesn't know how how to use his powers, but he's so like everyone knows this dude is like powerful. Like his power level's over 9,000.
He's like the Goku of
he's
Bleach
like the
world.
Goku that doesn't know how to use his powers, but like but he slowly throughout the entire series like starts unlocking things, and he just ends up fighting all these lieutenants and fucking them up. And it's just like the cool combat sequences, not to mention the hollows are like the demons that want to feed on like innocent souls, and they're like got these crazy ass masks and like holes in their chest, and they're just like pretty much crazy. Not to mention like for some reason, of course it's an anime, so all the chicks in this show are just curvy women,
curvy buxom
the curviest
ladies.
women in the world.
There's like a fabric shortage in Japan. Yeah,
like there's this one lieutenant called like Rengiko, and she's just voluptuous. It's fucking nuts. Voluptuous. But
Bumpy
yeah,
lumptuous.
Bleach is so cool.
You know, it's funny because anime, like, they do the best animes, like they may seem really ridiculous, but they have like an internal consistency. Like all the rules that they have, even if they like kind of bring something out of nowhere, it's like, okay, I can see how this works in this world that you've created. Yeah. You know, there's not like a lot of, I don't know if I'm using it right. The Deus Ex Machina, where it's like all of a sudden, no, I can do this crazy thing that doesn't make any sense. So it's like I can do this crazy thing, but yeah, it kind of makes sense because of who I am, the character, the powers that I have. You know,
it does. Like a lot of the characters are like protector types, and like there's this one, like I'm pretty sure one of his friends who's a normal dude named Chad. Yeah, his name's Chad, and he's just like, he's a gentle giant because he's like super giant. He's a really big dude, strong, like muscular, and he's just a protector. And he's been protecting Ichigo from a bully, and like Ichigo started protecting him, and he's like somehow was able to get like spirit energy, and then he just got like these giant arms that just pretty much make explosions. Like he got a power somehow. And
That's
then
awesome, man.
yeah, it's cool though, because the one thing that just like keeps you guessing about Bleach is that all of the really powerful Soul Reapers have like a final form or like a final ability called a Bunkai, and each of the Bunkais are unique to the user. So it's not like, you know, in Dragon Ball Z there's Super Saiyan 3, okay, and then everybody's Super Saiyan now, you know, and they work that. It's like, yeah, you never know what their Bunkai is gonna be until they're literally like Bunkai, and then something happens, and like something happens, and it's like Ichigo's Bunkai is just, he become like, it's not really that impressive, but because his sword just he's of a giant sword, and then he activates his Bunkai and his like clothing changes, and his sword's really small, and basically he just becomes like insanely fast. And then there's another guy's Bunkai, like Rukia's brother, where his sword turns into millions of flower petals, and these flower petals like act as almost like Gaara from Naruto with the sand, how the sand like just
obeys his will.
So his all these flower petals, which are made of millions of shards of metal, just like become these waves of ocean that he can use and protect himself with, or use on the offensive. But it's, yeah, there's a lot of cool shit. And then it gets better with like the hollows, because Ichigo has hollow in him. He's like part hollow, so like sometimes this hollow takes over, and he gets this crazy ass mask, and he gets like possessed by this character, and that's like his strongest thing. So like he, at the end of the day, he masters his Bunkai, and he can control his hollow. So his like final form is he has a hollow mask on in his Bunkai form, and he just fucks people up. It's badass. I used to have a little plush doll that had him in his Bunkai. Yeah, I'm showing my ass here, but
that's awesome,
it's the coolest series, and I was so disappointed with that movie.
Oh yeah, they did a live action movie.
Yeah, they did a live action.
Boy, just folks, just stay away from the live action anime remakes, man. Like, you know, let's not even talk about Death Note, like the
Netflix
version.
one.
Actually, you know, it's funny because, I mean, we can talk about Death Note now if you want to, but I have only seen the live action movie.
I mean, it's a great concept. like I dabbled into it when I was in like my anime field, just because I was like trying to get along with all the other Japanese kids, and
all those Japanese
all
kids
those
you were hanging
Japanese
out
kids
with.
I was hanging out with. And yeah, Death Note was cool. The concept, for those of you that don't know, Death Note, it's like there's this guy and he finds this book, and the book is like called the Death Note. And if you write someone's name in the book, they die.
Yep.
So you would pretty much have the power to kill people. But there's like a demon that basically can't be seen by the living, and it only can be seen by the possessor of the Death Note. And like,
And it's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, and it's William Dafoe. I know, literally, it's so bad. That Netflix one is.
Well, you know what? Let me. I feel like first of all, let me say something. This is like part one of a multi-part series because there's way too much anime out there to fit. Like, I'm sure all of you are like screaming in your cars right now, like, no, why did you talk about this and what about this one and stuff. So anyway, we're gonna do another one because in the midst of researching for this episode, like I have reignited my love for anime because I got away from it for a long time. Like after college, which was a long time ago, like I just, life took over and I just off to different things. And I come back to it every once in a while and it's just exploded with this cornucopia of different anime. So anyway, I've gotten back into a couple of them and a couple of the new series. Like I want to get into like, I've watched a couple episodes of Attack on Titan, and I'm watching Dragon Pilot right now on Netflix, which is like super cute. We can talk about that, but like, anyway, well, more to come. But do you want to talk about Neon Genesis Evangelion? I feel like any discussion of anime would not be right.
You need to talk about that.
Okay.
I've never heard of that.
What? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
What?
Cameron, what?
What is it called?
Neon Genesis Evangelion. Go ahead and look it up
Neon.
right now. Neon Genesis.
I got it.
Like neon
This is the
lights.
one where like she's got armor, like silver armor on.
Nope. This is an older anime from the 90s. This is something that this is one of those seminal, really in the history of anime. This is one that is one of those foundational ones that, as far as just amazing story, concept, characters, iconic kind of things. And if you haven't watched it, I guarantee you should watch it. Now they re-released them all on Netflix in a 3-part series, and I heard they changed stuff, but I haven't watched it yet. But anyway, near future, the Earth is set upon by these things. They call them angels, basically, and they are monsters of different kinds, and you never know what they come in one after the other. You never know what form they're going to take, and so to fight them, they have these things called EVAs, which are these giant robots, and they're piloted.
It's like a Tekken type, Pacific Rim type of
very,
thing.
very Pacific Rim. I guarantee you, Pacific Rim was influenced by this concept. It's basically just a kaiju kind of thing, and there's only a couple of them, and I forget why, but they can only be piloted by teenagers. So you've got, oh man, I see now I'm not even going to try to remember their names because I totally forgot. But I know Asuka Langley. She's the German one. She's the red-haired girl.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Forget it. But anyway, one of the guys, the head character or the main character, he's a teenage boy. He's called in. His dad is the head of research. He's the head of the whole program. It's called Nerve, and they have this huge underground base where they have the EVAs and stuff. But his dad's totally aloof and doesn't pay attention to him and doesn't treat him like a son or anything with any love. So there's a lot of conflict there. But the great thing about the series is that it starts off, and I'm forgetting the main. Folks, you're gonna have to help me. The third girl, the blue-haired girl who's really quiet. She has an eye patch because she gets injured. Anyway, there's 3 of them. Actually, I think there ends up being 4. And they have it's just crazy. It's just crazy awesome. The series starts off normal, it's a monster of the week kind of thing. They have to work together, and but then halfway through, it just changes to this really kind of darker tone. There's a lot of religious symbology, and obviously the monsters are called angels, and there's something on. I think they have something hidden away in their vaults called Adam. It's this weird kind of angel looking thing on a cross. It's all pinned there by giant spears or something, if I'm remembering right. But it just gets all crazy and weird and insane. And I remember the original ending of the series, if I recall. It's this weird head trip kind of philosophical kind of thing where he's thinking about his life but then there was like a movie that they released that's like, well, this is the ending as well, because people were asking the original creator like, which is the ending? He's like, no, they're both. I like them both, But the ending movie that they did was a lot more action packed. Like these other like angel monsters come and attack, and Asuka like just goes off on them, like she's like tearing them apart, and then they have these one of the main conceits of the show is these Evas, these protectors. They're attached to a power cord, and like once they detach from the power cord, if they detach from the power cord in any way, they've got 60 seconds of power before they run out. And so they use that very cleverly, and so in the last movie when she's fighting all these things, she's just going crazy and just ripping them to shreds and stuff, and then she runs out of power and they just get her and she dies. It's crazy. And I don't think my buddy and I, there's a friend I had who had this this explanation of what all the symbology means and the whole explanation of the series, and I read that. It's like 7 pages long. I'm like, I still have no idea what's going on,
Dude.
But it's one of those series that it's just got it all, man. It's the giant robots, but it's also got, I'm sure, a lot of deep symbology that goes right over my head. But Neon Genesis Evangelion, I should watch the Netflix ones because I hear they kind of changed some stuff in it, which I'm not sure I feel good about that, So
That sounds cool, man. I like that. It's very Pacific Rim-esque.
it is totally.
And if you can invent, like, the thing about that is, when was it in the 90s, right? It came out.
Yeah, 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Watched it watching it to college and stuff like that.
It's like they still are so glued to the idea that something needs a power cable, even in the 90s. Even when you're writing something so futuristic that, these robots that are super advanced, that are controlled by somebody's mind and shit,
Yeah.
they still need a power cord. They got to plug that hoe in.
Yeah. It's true. It was an interesting kind of story, element or whatever, or technological element that they put in there. So,
have you ever heard of the anime Hellsing?
No.
That's a
Hellsing,
cool,
like
Hellsing,
Hellsing.
like Van
Okay.
Helsing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. There's I used to I watched this one and it's about vampires. So it's like there's the main character's name is Alucard, and he is a vampire himself, but he hunts all these vampires and shit, and he's super badass. He sucks on bitches' blood and whatnot, and has these crazy pistols that have.
He's got like a hat with the glasses.
Yeah, with the
Okay,
glasses and everything.
Right now. Okay,
and the funny thing is, I mean, the comic's super cool, and he's an awesome character in himself, just because he's a He's like a Blade.
Okay, all right.
And but he, it's very interesting looking at his name, and his name's Alucard, and if you spell it backwards.
I've played Symphony of the Night.
Dracula,
yes.
So I'm like, okay, but the entire series is super awesome, and the cool part about it is, at least for like a young kid watching this, it was so gory.
Yeah.
For like this is one of those super gore animes that like they're just splitting dudes' wigs like left and right because they have to do
Fist
a lot
of the
with
North
the dead
Star.
Yeah.
Vampire Hunter D, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that one was super cool, and the character Alucard in himself is kind of awesome. And I actually discovered that anime. Remember when I was talking about how I used to, in one of the old episodes, how I used to go to the teen center and like play Warcraft 3?
Yeah.
Well, one of the like custom games we used to play was like a Dota type of thing.
Okay.
And the characters were all anime characters. So like you could play like characters from Bleach, and Alucard was one of the characters. I was like, what is this dude's deal? 'Cause he's just over here just blasting dudes with like a 1911. And I'm like, that's cool. So that's how I discovered that anime. And there's so many animes that I could talk about. Like, I mean, we haven't talked about Full Metal Alchemist, and we haven't talked about like One Piece, or if you consider Pokemon. I mean, it is a manga, like an anime. It's just so mainstream.
It's really mainstream.
It's so mainstream, but it still is Japanese anime. It still has all the.
Well, let me talk about. I have two in particular. I wanted to get into this one because they drive hard into our. Well, they as far as like the military crossover.
Yeah.
I tried to get a few of those in there, and one for sure is I'm watching it right now, Dragon Pilot. And it's super cute. Like, it's super cute and endearing and very lighthearted. I recommend it. I think it's actually pretty well written from what I understand of the writing medium. But basically, it's modern day Japan, and the main idea is that dragons have always existed in Japan, but throughout their history, they've had to disguise them as different things. Like
a fighter jet.
Yeah, and basically like what they do nowadays, with the Japanese Defense Forces, they disguise them as jets. So it's this real dragon, but he's got all these armor pieces on him, and then he'll transform into his jet mode. And in order to pilot him, the main girl, she's kind of very mousy and very shy at the beginning of the series and stuff, and then she gains her confidence a little bit, but he has to swallow her. So she's sitting inside his stomach in the special suit so she doesn't get dissolved. And then she has like a display that shows her, like a holographic display that shows her what the outside looked like. And she has to like punch different parts of his body to make him like do different things.
What the heck is this?
It's super ridiculous, but super cute,
it is. I'm looking. This is the type of feel good anime.
It is totally.
Shit.
It's very Ted Lasso anime,
Yeah.
But what I like about it is that there's definitely I'm sensing like a little bit of like patriotism, a little bit of nationalistic pride and stuff, because as far as I can tell, they use like proper lingo and proper like command structure because she's on an air base, right?
Yeah.
And just the idea of like Japan kind of having these secret dragons, which, come on guys, where were they in World War II?
Yeah.
If you had dragons back then, I think it would have gone differently.
That nuke.
But anyway, like the idea of like these dragons, they're each inside these jets are actually dragons, and they've got this secret weapon, kind of thing, which I kind of get a little bit of the kind of like Japan's like, I don't know what the deal is with that, because we made them sign that treaty back then where they could only have defensive forces. Like, I don't know, maybe it's time to let them loose, let the dragons loose now.
Let the dragons out.
I don't want to make a political statement, but I just feel like Japan, and sometimes in their animes, they're trying to say something maybe about their aspirations, or something, or maybe those creators are trying to be like, hey Japan, maybe we can be more, and so I feel like Dragon Pilot kind of gets that a little bit.
You're going deep, man.
Maybe I'm
deep.
way reading into it way
deep.
too much.
I think they just were like, what haven't we done so far?
Yeah,
we've
what
done
ridiculous.
Tentacles.
We've done every
vaginas.
tentacle variation that we can possibly think of.
Let's do dragons.
Let's do dragons as planes, basically.
Yeah, let's do that. So what's that second one then?
The second one I want to talk about, this is more of an honorable mention because I have to admit I have not watched any episodes, but I did a fair amount of YouTube research. But Girls und Panzer. And it's basically, I love it. It's the same kind of like adorable premise, but basically it's modern day, teenage girls in high school. They go to these all girls schools, but a national sport is tank fighting. Like they get in real tanks and they fight each other. It's like, it's like a sport. It's like today we're going to do an away game with our tanks,
Nice.
But the cool thing about it is how the tanks that they use, they do a lot of historical accuracy. Like they use real kind of like World War II style tanks. It's all classic tanks. It's all World War II style tanks. And each school almost kind of represents a different nation, so they have different kinds of tanks from different nations around that era and stuff like that. And if you look at like the anime and stuff, it's all pretty accurate, I watched one video where the guy's like, listen, this anime is better than Fury because they really go hardcore on their accuracy and stuff. And what I liked about what the guy had to say is if you want to, if you have some aspiration in society, you want to change, you want to, push the needle in a good direction for something that you love or enjoy or something that you want, anything that you can do to kind of push it in that direction, any little pop culture piece is going to that kind of endears people to whatever you like. That's a good thing. So the guy says, like, for anybody that's like a big tank lover that loves the history of tanks and the technology of tanks, Girls und Panzer is actually a really helpful anime because it might be couched in this kind of ridiculous, cutesy girl anime style, but it's actually got a lot of historical accuracy, and I really appreciate that. There's another one. I'll just say it real quick because it hasn't to do with anything, but in connection with like something that like it's like a cutesy anime, but it also has like a realism to it. But there's this one I remember seeing it. My friend had it when I visited Japan back in 2009, and she let me watch a few episodes. But it's called Yakitate, and it's an anime series about bread making. And it's this kid who comes from this small town who wants to make he's on the journey of creating a national loaf of bread for Japan, like the national bread. Like they got national flowers and national bird. He's and he wants to call it Japan. Like pan means bread, and he wants to call it Japan. And so he does all these contests with these other bread makers. The thing about it is it's all super accurate baking techniques. He talks about temperatures and what kind of bread, grains to make and what kind of ingredients. It's all super detailed and stuff.
Like you said, they have everything.
They have an anime.
They have anime for everything.
If you haven't checked it out and you if you
the
kind of the fun, lighthearted, Japan senpai, Japan. But anyway, that's all I'll say. What Girls in Pens are in Yakitate, where I love it, the idea of putting something really super accurate within this kind of goofy, kind of lighthearted anime world. But it's you can tell they did their research, It's super cool.
There's just aspects of it that are wow.
Yeah,
okay.
it's very
Even
anime.
Though she's just eating a bun that looks super delicious right now. There's she's in a, M1 Abrams.
Yeah, she's in a M1 Abrams. She's in a classic Sherman tank, you know?
That's awesome.
So let's go, man.
Well, I think this is a good time to transition to our game here.
Should we transition to our game?
Should we? I don't know. Are you the game master?
I am the game master.
You are the game master. Okay,
listen,
perfect.
folks, just so you know, I could talk about anime forever. So
Forever.
we're coming back with another anime episode. You just keep your
There's a lot.
ears
There's
peeled.
a lot out there.
All right, so let's do game, man. You ready?
Okay,
I'm going to run this one.
You're gonna run it.
And so we'll call this game the Car-Toon-Up.
The Car-Toon-Up.
That name sucks, but
who wrote that name?
It's all right. Chris does his best. I love these games. I think a lot of people, this is some of their favorite stuff.
I'm ready for whatever you got.
So anyway, what are we gonna do? So it's got anime. It's got an anime theme, right? All you have to do is tell me top 5 anime series according to. Oh, okay. I want you to order these. This is according to IGN. They have a top 5 anime series list.
Okay.
We're gonna list them out.
And I'm gonna order.
And you're gonna tell me which ones are number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Or actually, no, wait. All you have to do is tell me the top 5 anime series. Okay. You have to name them. What do you think are the
You're
top
not being
5?
a very good game
I know. I'm not being a very good.
Why don't we just do it? I like the way you said it. You'll name them.
Okay.
You rank them.
Okay. Cool.
And then we'll tell you if you're right at the end.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna name these series. You tell me in order what they are, and you can take notes or something if you want to. But okay. First one I'm gonna name just in no particular order. Monster. Okay.
It's called Monster.
It's called Monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great. See.
Okay. Next one is Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
Not the apparently super failed Netflix live action
one
series.
Season? Really?
Yeah. Jeez.
One season.
Ouch.
Okay.
The next one is Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo. That means the no is a possessive. I know that. Hajime no.
I'm just gonna put
so it's
Haji.
Hajime's Ippo or whatever. I don't know what
I'm
either.
just gonna put
of those are.
Haji because
Okay.
that's what I know.
Haji. That's right. It's a derogatory name for the Middle Eastern people.
Yes.
Then there's One Piece.
One Piece. Okay.
And the last one in no particular order, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So IGN has all these on a top 5 list. In what order do you think they've done it? Let's go lowest to highest. What's number 5, 4, 3, 2? Count us down.
Oh man.
So go ahead and take your time. I'll
See,
talk
I don't
about
even
anime
know.
while you.
Am I allowed to Google what these ones look like?
Yeah, if you want to.
Chris, is that with
No.
No. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, no, you can't. You cannot.
All right, Dad.
Because if you Google it, you might just find the list.
The list? Okay, that's true. So I know One Piece. I know Full Metal Alchemist. I know Cowboy Bebop. I don't know Haji or Monster.
Haji. Hajime no Ippo. And then you don't know Monster?
I don't know Monster.
I don't know Monster either, actually.
Either.
I'm
so
familiar.
my ranking
All right.
is because I'm going to put... Actually, I'm going to go... Yeah, so I'm going to do... I'm going to do Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood number 5.
Okay.
I'm going to do Haji at number 4. I'm going to do Monster at number 3. I'm going to put Cowboy Bebop at number 2. And then I'm going to do One Piece at number 1.
All right, so give me that one more time.
Okay, so I got Full Metal Alchemist at number 5.
Yep.
I got
Hajime.
at number 4.
Okay.
Monster at number 3. Cowboy Bebop at number 2. And One Piece at number 1.
One Piece.
For some reason, I'm pretty confident that One Piece is number one, because I think I've read something that it is the most popular anime ever made.
Well, you know, it's funny. Lists are interesting things because number one could be
biased as
to
hell.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Could be number 5 to somebody, you know, to One Piece. But anyway, okay, so you're totally wrong in all those. No.
Really?
The number 5 is Hajime no Ippo
Okay.
for IGN. Number 4 is One Piece.
Number 4 is One Piece.
Number 4
okay.
is One Piece. Number
Wow, that's-
3 is Monster. So you actually got that right.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, you also got right. Cowboy Bebop.
So number one
Number
is
one
Full
is
Metal
Full
Alchemist
Metal
Brotherhood.
Alchemist.
Really?
According to IGN.
What
you
is
know,
IGN though?
IGN is the Internet Gaming Network. I don't even know.
That's bold.
it's
Stick
a
to
It's just
channel.
it's just a resource. It was that or like Paste Magazine or some blog that's like mytopanimes.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how are these
Who
people
wrote
with
this?
authorities on
Yeah.
anything?
Well,
you
I
know?
picked IGN because at least it was probably written by someone that could claim to be a journalist and not just
Yeah.
some
And not just a
neckbeard.
blogger.
some neckbeard.
So
yeah.
what? I got
Shlomo.
2 out of those right?
2 out of
2 to
5.
3?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Terrible,
Pretty,
but you know
hey,
what?
you know what? Simple, straightforward game. You know.
Just hold for the. And then we have about 3 minutes left, so
Okay.
wrap it up
Okay.
pretty quick. Don't dilly dally.
Don't dilly down.
Okay. Cool.
Well, that was kind of a challenging game, huh?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still going.
It's
I got another truck coming. God, I hope the world's on fire.
It's better be important.
This better be really important.
Somebody's life better be on the line for
Yeah.
interrupting.
I hope
the
someone's
podcast.
dead.
Whoa.
right,
Whoa.
you're
whoa.
good.
Okay.
Well, Cameron.
Yes. All right. Well, I mean, that was a challenging game. You
Yeah.
know, I don't agree with that list. I don't agree with the biases.
It was kind of an opinion
that
versus
list.
opinion, you
Yeah.
know, kind of thing.
But I'm right. at the
Maybe
end of
someday the
day. I
IGN
think
people will do your game,
Yeah.
and they'll have to go against your list, and they'll
yeah,
be wrong.
and then they'll be super wrong.
Yeah.
What do they know anyhow? But anyways, that was fun, man.
Yeah, good
That
times,
was good
man.
time.
Well, that's all the time we got for you today, folks. We really appreciate you joining us. Make sure you tune in. We got to release a new episode every Wednesday. If you want to check us out on YouTube, we have our YouTube channel, which we always add more content for that, including our faces, which is always amazing. Thanks for all the support, folks. If you want to follow us on Instagram at pcfmpodcast, you can do that. Also, write us an email. We love getting your emails at pcfmpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we do.
If you want to hang out with me, go to twitch.tv/myhappyself.
Yeah, and if you want to hang out with me, I don't have a Twitch, so that sucks.
He doesn't
But you can
stream.
find me on Instagram at
Yet.
CameraCFath, or you can look at my streetwear page, Kick God Apparel, or on that website, www.kickgodapparel.com.
And you want to talk about Shift Fire?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Folks, we have a new channel on YouTube coming out very soon. If it's not out already by the time you listen to this, it's called Shift Fire.
Shift Fire.
Shift Fire, folks, like just like the maneuver in
The maneuver
in
in
a
the
raid.
military.
In the military.
Yes,
Yeah, Shift
absolutely.
Fire. It's all things military lifestyle.
Give 'em the
fire-
tagline, dude.
Oh yeah,
Give 'em the tagline.
Shift Fire. It's an exploration and appreciation of military lifestyle and firearms. I think we should get firearms in there somewhere. Eventually. It's gonna be good, folks. If you like military firearms, all that kind of stuff, it's gonna be a good time, folks. So
Yes, it will.
yeah.
Perfect. Cue music!